Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Democrats pretend as if they have a monopoly on truth. Everything coming from the other side of the aisle is disinformation, is what they tell us. Those are conspiracy theories. The notion is laughable, literally laughable. It's totally unserious, and I say that purposely because the headline moment of this video is of a clip during the House weaponization of the federal government hearing on government censorship, where a woman by the name of Emma Jo Morris, now editor of Breitbart and former editor at the New York Post, the same journalist who broke the laptop from hell story at the New York Post, when testifying and going over the facts, or going over, I guess, the timeline of this ridiculous Hunter Biden-Joe Biden saga, literally couldn't keep a straight face. That is how ridiculous Democrat action has been over the last X amount of years. That is how laughable and obvious government censorship and weaponization is. Let me show you guys this amazing moment, and then let's really try to focus in on the facts as we continue to expose the Democrat machine. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so the clip is pretty long. I'll try to cut it down as best as I can while keeping all the best moments. Here's Emma Jo Morris.
My name is Emma Jo Morris, politics editor at Breitbart. I'm here today because I published a series of news stories 3 years ago in October of 2020 about Hunter Biden's now infamous laptop, also known as the laptop from hell, which is seen as some of the most scandalous reporting of the last decade. What was more scandalous than the reporting itself, though, was the fact that it exposed the unholy alliance between the intelligence community, social media platforms, and legacy media outlets. At the time, I was deputy politics editor at the New York Post, and my reporting showed that despite then-candidates Joe Biden's repeated and furious denials, he was apparently involved in the foreign business deals of his family. Over several days, just weeks before Americans would vote for their next president, I revealed verified, authentic emails from the Biden Scion's hard drive showing Ukrainian business partners receiving leaks from the Obama White House. I documented an off-the-books meeting between then Vice President Biden and a Ukrainian energy executive, and introduced the world to the big guy who got action on a deal with CEFC, China Energy Company. The Post published exactly how the material for the reporting was obtained, even identifying our sources, as well as a federal subpoena showing the FBI was in possession of the material the story was based on and had been since December of 2019. But when the stories appeared on social media that morning, the venue where millions of Americans go to find their news and editors to get their angles, within hours, the reporting was censored on all major platforms on the basis of being called hacked or Russian disinformation. However, the stories were not based on hacked materials, nor were they Russian disinformation. And despite those claims appearing to come out of thin air at the time, we would eventually learn that they actually didn't come out of thin air at all. On October 19th, 5 days after the Post began publishing, Politico ran a story headlined, "Hunter Biden's story is Russian disinfo, dozens of former intel officials say." God, I can't even say that with a straight face, you know? Politico printed a letter completely uncritically from veteran members of the US intelligence community, falsely claiming that the Post expose has, quote, all the classic earmarks of a Russian information operation. My God. Most notable among the signatories of that letter were Jim Clapper from former DNI, Michael Hayden, former CIA, John Brennan, former CIA, despite having such damaged credibility following their participation in the Russia collusion conspiracy theory. A few days later, on October 22nd, when Biden appeared in the second presidential debate and was confronted with the facts of the Post reporting, he said to Trump, quote, 50 former national intelligence professionals said this, what he's accusing me of is a Russian plot. But it was not, and he knew that. Now, fast forward to this year, 3 years later. Just last spring, House investigators revealed it was a call by now Secretary of State Antony Blinken to former acting CIA Director Michael Morell that prompted the spy letter published by Politico, which bypassed agency approval processes that would have been normally applied. Journalist Michael Schallenberger reported, based on documents he obtained from Musk, that during all of 2020, the FBI and other law enforcement agencies repeatedly primed Twitter executives to dismiss reports of Hunter Biden's laptop as a Russian hack and leak operation. Feds arranged for top secret security clearances to be granted to Twitter management and even had encrypted messaging networks set up, which they dubbed a virtual war room.
She literally couldn't say it with a straight face, and you know what? The moment's just perfect. That moment right there was just perfect. You know, Politico is one of the major fact-checking organizations out there. They have a whole page dedicated to it. Politico, fact-checking, news, analysis, and opinion from Politico. You know, they're presented as this really hyper-serious, totally neutral, fact-based journalistic entity, but when the Biden campaign, the FBI or the CIA, whoever it was, came knocking at the door and told them that it was their turn to step up and promote official government propaganda, they did so without question, releasing the headline mentioned by Emma Jo Morris: Hunter Biden laptop, Russian disinfo, intelligence officials state. A complete load of crap. There's no other way to describe it. The whole thing was literally laughable, but a laughing response that's in a way therapeutic. It's easier to laugh at how ridiculous it is than have to keep sitting and pondering at just how deep the corruption goes. What do you think's happening with Mrs. Emma Jo Morris right now? Democrat talking heads, Democrat politicians, Democrat tools on Twitter are going on a typical rampage, attacking her and trying to destroy her credibility. She's the editor at Breitbart, and we're supposed to trust her? Now, how about you take 5 seconds and trust your eyeballs? How about you look into the facts and see where they lead? There's only one conclusion. Literally only one proper conclusion. The FBI, the CIA was in cahoots with the Biden campaign at the time, and they interfered in the previous election. That happened. The same leftoids going on and on about, interference, when they feel it doesn't benefit them. They create these crackpot conspiracy theories and fearmonger about election interference for years. Then when faced with actual election interference, they're nowhere to be seen. In fact, they're essentially advocating, defending, and justifying the interference actions themselves. They are the biggest hypocrites on the freaking planet. And not just small hypocrisy, but deeply morally corrupt, morally bankrupt hypocrisy. The same people going on and on about democracy are the first people to throw the concept of democracy into the trash can the moment it doesn't benefit them. They're still denying the basic reality that the Hunter Biden laptop story was real. Everybody knew it was real. The FBI knew it was real. The DOJ, the CIA, the Biden campaign itself, everybody knew it was real. Yet they launched a mass propaganda / mass censorship campaign, abusing their connections, abusing their power to subvert American democratic will. I mean, just look at the basic facts, and more continue to pile. Revealed, the same FBI agents who advised Twitter executives that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinfo knew that it was legit. The House Judiciary GOP Twitter account tweeted, "Big breaking news. Testimony reveals the FBI knew that the Hunter Biden laptop was in fact authentic, but when asked by a social media company about the laptop's authenticity, the FBI said, quote, no further comment. The rest is history." Let's add that to the pile, on top of Tony Blinken's infamous email to John Brennan, or actually let me correct that, Michael Morell, who was acting on behalf of Anthony Blinken and the Biden campaign, emailing John Brennan, "Hi John, can I add your name to the list? We'll be adding Leon, Sue Gordon, Jay Johnson, George, Lisa Monaco, and Mike Rogers, DIR NSA today, and working on adding Dan Coates, Mike Rogers, and Tom Bossert, and lots of other IC career folks, trying to give the campaign, particularly during the debate on Thursday, a talking point to push back on Trump on this issue." John Brennan then responded, "Okay, Michael, add my name to the list. Good initiative. Thanks for asking me to sign." The corruption is right in front of your very eyes. And clearly there's very perverse relationships between the Democrat establishment, federal agencies, and of course their links to the media and social media. Emma Jo Morris earlier in the clip mentioned how many of these tech companies were filled with former FBI and CIA agents. You know, this clip from the Tucker Carlson Elon Musk interview on Fox News from back in April really puts it all into perspective.
At Twitter, one of the great business stories of the year.
I think we're about 20% of the original size.
So 80% left.
Yes.
So
I mean, a lot of people voluntarily.
Sure. But it's 80% are gone from the day you took over.
That's correct. Yes.
So how do you run the company with only 20% of the staff?
It turns out you don't need that many people to run Twitter.
But 80%? That's a lot.
Yes. If you're not trying to run some sort of glorified activist organization, and you're not care that much about censorship, then you can really let go of a lot of people, turns out.
Why do you think that these social media companies and these mainstream media companies have such bloated staffs? Because they're not just social media companies, they're propaganda companies, they're information control companies, they're narrative protection agencies. You know, like I always say, I don't ever want to be lectured to about disinformation, fascism, censorship, democracy, extremism by any leftoid ever again. Educate yourself, look at the facts, and once you have a basic understanding of them, then maybe we could begin to start to have an honest conversation about these topics. Those are my thoughts. That's what I got. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. You know that we'd love to have you here. Thanks for watching, folks, and I'll see you on the next one.